Well, the September escape of a 17-year-old from the city's juvenile jail turned into a highly publicized manhunt after Carlos Taylor reportedly carjacked a woman while on the run. But a similar escape attempt months earlier was largely kept quiet. That's where we begin this evening, everyone. Thanks for joining us. I'm Sharice Gibson.
And I'm Katie Moore. Records obtained by investigative reporter Mike-Perlstein reveal security issues uncovered during a January breach were still not fixed at the time of Taylor's escape.
Well, Mike explains how it contributed to his brazen breakout.
Every time I think about this carjacking, I'm so grateful to God that I did not get dragged down the street or killed.
Even though she walked away without any injuries, longtime New Orleans entertainer Barbara Lane remains traumatized by the attack in which a desperate and bloody teenager took her car, almost running her over during his escape. 17-year-old Carlos Taylor was caught in Baton Rouge 3 days later and booked in the carjacking.
I shouldn't have gotten out of my car.
What Lane and the rest of the community did not know is that a nearly identical escape was attempted by an inmate at the city's juvenile jail in January of last year. Records obtained exclusively by WWL Louisiana show that the near escape on January 30th exposed security gaps in the juvenile complex, gaps that were still the subject of internal dispute when officials say Taylor exploited those same vulnerabilities.
The restraints have to be put on outside of the courtroom upon returning to JJIC.
That was Dyshell Williams, director of the New Orleans Juvenile Justice Intervention Center, the day after police say Taylor escaped while being escorted from a court hearing. Williams was explaining why Taylor was not in restraints when he took off after overpowering a guard. What Williams did not say was that she was already on the losing end of a 9-month legal battle to keep handcuffs and shackles on the juveniles inside of court.
That wouldn't have happened if he'd had handcuffs on.
In fact, within hours of that January escape attempt, Williams fired off this email to the juvenile court judges, telling them that her staff would keep restraints on juvenile defendants. Janet Hayes, a longtime mental health advocate in the courts, supported the restraints.
It's not worth it to take that risk because even one incident can result in so much harm.
But Article 408 of the Louisiana Children's Code orders otherwise.
In the Children's Code, we don't keep them shackled in the courtroom, and they have a reason for that. That's because, we're supposed to treat kids like kids.
The law states that restraints must be removed from juveniles before they are brought into the courtroom unless prosecutors or jail officials get a judge's permission after identifying a defendant as high risk. Williams' policy sparked immediate pushback. Defense attorney Jerome Matthews filed several court motions after one of his clients was kept in restraints, including one that went all the way to the state Supreme Court.
Just because you have that issue doesn't mean you don't have to follow the law.
The Louisiana Center for Children's Rights, which supplies most of the defense attorneys for juveniles, also took a strong stand against restraints.
Based on the rehabilitative nature of juvenile court, we oppose shackling.
LCCR legal director Hannah Vandekar noted that the law does allow exceptions.
You have to make a case-by-case determination. Every child is different.
But jail officials tried to argue that the number of juveniles going to court and sometimes fluid scheduling make it difficult to file individual restraint motions. And so when Carlos Taylor was brought to court on September 23rd, he was taken out of his handcuffs and shackles. Even when he turned belligerent after a judge ordered his attempted murder case to be transferred to adult court, a jail guard waited until he was in the area behind the courtroom door to try to put him back in restraints. That's when he bolted.
Why would that happen again? Somebody was not doing their job.
The records show that after Taylor's escape, Williams again tried to beef up security, this time by putting a lock on a door that leads from the court to the corridor that leads to the jail. Taylor allegedly fled through that unlocked door and then through a fire escape in the corridor. Chief Juvenile Court Judge Candace Bates Anderson immediately protested. In this letter to Williams, she wrote, quote, Locking these doors limits OPJC's staff ability to evacuate the building safely in the event of a fire. Judicial Administrator Gail Audrick followed with this email, quote, "We are requesting that the door be unlocked." Williams wrote back, "Do you have a resolution to the public safety risk if we keep it unlocked?"
The job of the court to have proper locks on everything. I mean, just do your job. Just do your job, you know?
Barbara Lane said she doesn't understand why there wasn't a lock on the door in the first place.
I don't understand why the city doesn't make sure that those things are done for $25.
Williams has been on medical leave and was unavailable for comment, but the lock that she and the city installed remains in place. Mike Perlstein, WWL, Louisiana.
Well, none of the judges would go on camera about the internal tug of war, but the administrators say the new door lock can be opened with a master key, and that key has been given to court officials.